Alex, y'all are built for this. Just go ball out. Have some fun. Cut it loose. Who cares what's going to happen on Monday? Who cares what's going to happen on Tuesday? Just cut it loose and have some fun today. Dominate all day long. Let's go dominate on 3. 1, 2, 3. Dominate!
Carson Wentz trying to talk up some of the youngsters, Shannon Spake. He's missing a lot of big weapons today.
That is right, Tom. So 1 week ago, Carson Wentz said he could just laugh at the situation when starter after starter went down in that game against Atlanta. He said at one point, it was like he was drawing plays up in the sand. Now they're going to be without some of those starters here today. Again, Deshaun Jackson, Corey Clement, Alshon Jeffrey. Dallas Goedert is good to go, however, after being game-time decision. Now all these guys got a great week of practice with Carson Wentz, and the advice Wentz has for them is be you, do yourself. Don't try to be Alshon. Don't try to be Deshaun. Go out and do what you can do.
Head coaches today, Matt Patricia, year number 2, and of course Doug Peterson already owns the best winning percentage in franchise history, including the playoffs and a Super Bowl title, a 34-21 record. Detroit won the toss, defers to getting the football in the second half, and this is Miles Sanders, and he'll bring it out across the 23 and took a big hit. Speaking of taking big hits, that was a story a week ago for Carson Wentz, a 26-year-old native of Bismarck, North Dakota. Had a brutal first half, going 6 out of 16 with a couple of interceptions, and had an outstanding second half.
Well, one thing, Carson is both physically and mentally tough. They were able to work with these young wide receivers all week. Even though they had a walkthrough, Carson Wentz went full speed with Hollins and Ortega-Whiteside in practice. The timing should be there.
They start empty backfield on this first down, and an errant throw with an eye on Sanders, the rookie out of Penn State. So we talk about no Alshon Jeffrey, no Deshaun Jackson. The guys up front have got to protect Wentz better.
Yeah, Sayamalu had a rough week last week. He could be vulnerable to the bull rush. Let's see if he's able to hang right there at number 73.
Make the run and throw it to the 31-yard line, and that's Nelson Aguilar. They're needing a big game out of him. He's coming off an 8-catch, 107-yard performance, but he also dropped what would have been the winning touchdown. You look at the Lions on defense. They've only given up 3 touchdowns through the first 2 games.
Getting a boost with Jarrett Davis, their middle linebacker, back today.
On a 3rd down movement, Tony Corrente, our referee today.
Neutral zone infraction, defense number 90. This 5-yard penalty will create a first down.
That's Trey Flowers. They brought him as a free agent from New England. He led the Patriots in sacks in each of the last 3 years.
Yeah, he's been banged up a little bit. About the 3rd game, all these guys that have been injured and missed training camp, including Trey Flowers, usually you'll start to see them play at game speed. Nice job by Carson Wentz shading up the cadence. Every time it's 3rd and short, you as a defensive leader have to alert your fellow players. Watch the hard count.
Again, empty backfield. Wentz rolling right, throws to a wide open receiver, and inside the 25, that's the rookie Sanders.
So there's a saying, deep is the deepest if you're in a 1 safety look. Gets nosy, number 23, Darius Slay. Now watch him come off on a short route on a pump fake. There's no safety over there. He's playing middle field, not half field. He has 0 help deep. If you're a deep 3rd player, number 1 rule, I don't care what's in front of you, deep as the deepest.
A 40-yard gain on first down, batted into the air, and then Wentz wisely just knocks it down rather than trying to catch it.
That's Damon Harrison right here working. Now he's held up at the line of scrimmage in a sign of a knowledgeable pass rusher, a veteran. If you're not getting there, always try to get your hands up, especially against a guy like Wentz who likes to move around in the pocket and find throwing lanes with his feet.
Trying to get off to a fast start on offense, the Philadelphia Eagles. They have not scored in the first quarter in 12 of their last 18 games. They scored a total of 41 points in the opening quarter a season ago. And take a look at this already. They've been outscored by 17 in the first half. Had to do a lot of catching up in the second.
And you see how they have to mix max players. They're moving Darren Sproles now right here, running back. Try to create some type of mismatch on him. He's a tough cover in space. Watch Zach Ertz. Right here, that's his guy.
Protection this time and looking to the corner. And in search of a flag was Aguilar, and it's thrown to the 10-yard line. That was Justin Coleman, the free agent from Seattle, in coverage.
Well, he's beat right now. Aguilar does a good
Pass
job.
interference. Defense, number 27. Ball be spotted at the spot of the foul, and an automatic first down.
Of climbing the defensive back, and you see right there, Justin Coleman is not getting any depth with Aguilar's on top of him. It's too late, and it's actually a smart play when you get beat physically. You don't want to give up 6. Go ahead, make the hole, live to fight another down.
Automatic first down just outside the 10. And Sproles looking for running room, and that's something that the Eagles have just simply not been able to do.
Well, they need to get Jordan Howard involved. In my opinion now, Sproles can be effective. Obviously, out of that situation, you have Miles Sanders, the rookie from Penn State. Miles is averaging about 2.5 yards per carry. There are holes to be had. I just think Miles needs to see it a little bit better, and he will with the more reps that he gets.
It's just hard to figure you go out and make a trade for Jordan Howard, who's rushed for the 3rd most yards among all NFL running backs the last 3 years, and he never touches the ball. They hand it this time to Sanders. He slips inside the 7, close to the 6-yard line. It'll bring up 3rd down. They can get a first down just on the other side of the 1.
And that was Doug Peterson. We talk about Miles Sanders. Just, you know, sometimes you're not the little league guy that can outrun every defender in the NFL. Stick your foot in the ground, go north and south as opposed to east and west, just like he did that last play. Always alert Ertz in the red zone. Always alert.
Down, Wentz looks left, fires to the corner, and thrown behind Mack Hollins. So the field goal unit will come out. You know, the year the Eagles won the Super Bowl 2 years ago, they scored 106 points in the first quarter. 106. Last year, 41.
Well, that's the difference, and that's so far this year. And we talked to Doug Peterson. Hey, man, you're getting punched in the face to start every game. He says, I know, we got to start throwing the first punch. And they did right here. This will go a long way of getting 3 points on the board. By the way, the Lions doubled Ertz that time. They'll double him all day.
5-yard try by Elliott right down the middle. He's now hit 17 in a row inside of 50 yards. Stafford and the Lions get the football when we return. Well, look, if you're an Eagles fan, you're thinking, are we ever going to get going on offense? At least it's 3 points.
Yeah, that's a good start.
7.
Well, compared to what they've had, that's a good start. I think there were some missed opportunities. Carson Wentz made a poor throw to Hollins, who was open the end zone. If he throws that low and outside, it's 6 points. He threw it high and inside. No good. Got his signals mixed up with his catcher.
Jamal Agnew was benched a week ago in the win over the Chargers, but back in there today, a dangerous return man is Agnew, and he's across midfield, and he might take this one all the way. He will take it all the way. Jamal Agnew, 100 yards, no penalty flags on the field, and how about that answer for the Detroit Lions? Their special teams have been an unmitigated disaster to begin this year. Well,
and you got to feel good for Agnew, because Matt Patricia was asked in the press conference, do you lose confidence in Jamal Agnew? He said, heck no, since he benched him, gave him an opportunity on kickoff returns, and this is showing what it is not to lose confidence in your players and how well blocked that is. The discipline of the Lions not to block anybody in the back. It's something we rarely see on kickoff returns, but they executed it perfectly. But just to see a coach, you know, he got benched, but Patricia, hey, I believe in you. You can do this. You're so explosive, and he showed it right there.
You know, Agnew, his rookie year, brought back 2 punts for touchdowns. He was among the best return men in all of the NFL, and last year was nicked up quite a bit. Injured, only played in 6 games. And we're back after this message from Progressive. How about before the game? Some confidence shown by Patricia for Agnew.
Yeah, see, this does wonders for a young player. You bench a guy for a reason. And Agnew responded to the challenge. Look at that. That's belief in each other. And regardless of what team it is, when you see that and a belief in a young guy, when you challenge him, he doesn't wilt. He responded to the challenge just like Agnew did. So when you have two wide receivers out, and obviously you have one of the best receiving tight ends in football, Zach Ertz. Well, Matt Patricia knows this. So this is what they're going to do to him all day with different combinations. They are not going to let him run free and get the football. They're going to double him right there with Jarrad Davis having an eye on him. And there's, you see that ball is outside or inside and behind. If this ball, here's the double team right here. This is a beautiful job of Jarrad Davis playing routes. But if I'm telling you, man, if Wentz puts that ball low and away, which he does 9 times out of 10, that's the difference between 6 points and 3 points. And Wentz makes that throw 9 times out of 10.
Jordan Howard is checked into the backfield. In his first 3 seasons, very good seasons for the Chicago Bears. Play action, and Wentz to a wide open Zach Ertz, and he's close to midfield. Among the very best in the game today.
So Rashaan Melvin, after the play, is looking for where's my help. This is exactly, watch Rashaan Melvin. Now after the play, he's looking around to see, he thinks he's going to have help somewhere. He's left all alone. And I don't care, you can put a corner on him, a safety on him, a linebacker, it doesn't matter. He's a mismatch in one-on-one coverage for any position on the defensive side of the ball.
Already a couple of Pro Bowls for Ertz. Played every snap in the loss to Atlanta. Howard runs right through a would-be Lions tackler. Oh my. And I mean Tracy Walker feeling it from Jordan Howard.
Well, I give Tracy credit, but Jordan Howard wins the pad level battle. His pads are lower than Tracy Walker's pads. You're going to win that fight every single time. And the reason why we talked about in the open, you traded for him. Get him the football.
He's going to get it again. He's got good running room. Spins out of one tackle and is dragged down to the 34-yard line. You had to chase running backs around for a long, long time. What makes a good one?
So I've studied running backs my whole life, and this is how I broke it down. And this is Emmitt Smith. Great vision, always falling forward. And in order to be a good running back in the NFL, you have to be able to make an on-block player miss you in the hole, just like Howard did.
He keeps those feet moving. He appears to be about a half a yard short of a first down on that second down carry. So 3rd and 1 coming up.
I like what Doug Peterson here is going a little bit of tempo, right? He's trusting his conditioning over the Lions' conditioning. And when you play as much man-to-man as the Detroit Lions do, that takes a lot out of a defensive back because all you do all game long is run, run, run.
Got Miles Sanders in the backfield, and he cuts it back to the inside. And is tackled at the 24-yard line. That was a touchdown-saving tackle there by Walker.
Sustaining blocks. And the difference right here is Miles Sanders, you said it on your call, which was well done. He cuts it back inside. Watch him plant that leg. There you go. No more east-west, north and south. That's what you do in the NFL. North and south it.
Putting in the hands of Aguilar. And that's a pickup of close to 5 on first down, maybe 4. So here we are, still 8:20 to play in the opening quarter. We've had a lengthy drive capped off by a field goal. A 100-yard kickoff return for a touchdown, the first by a Lion since the 2013 year. And now Philadelphia knocking on the door again.
They got an extra tackle in the ball game. Vitae number 72 right here lined up at tight end.
Able to break through one tackle is Sanders, but that's all. Okwara was there. What did you think of Tavai? He got the start in the first 2 games at middle linebacker for the injured Jared Davis.
So he's been a nice little pickup for them. And Jelani Tavai, when you do a scouting report, the number one thing that Bob Quinn, the general manager, and Matt Patricia look for is versatility. He can play inside, he can play outside. The thing I like about him is he has good instincts and he plays faster than his time speed. Jared Davis right there was a guy that penetrated, which they're glad to have him back on the defensive side of the ball. Right there's Jared. Now could be a pass rusher.
Down at 6, and Wentz steps in there looking around. He's going to run it, and he'll get the first down and then some. Sniff in the end zone. Did he get there? No signal. I think they're going to say that ball came down just outside the goal line. A 19-yard run for Wentz.
And so let's see if he gets there. And Wentz using that long body, that elbow's down, the ball is down. Good call by the officials. And the offensive line does such a good job of picking up the stunts. Watch here. See the guys twisting and turning? The offensive line does that. He understands it's man coverage. With it man coverage, he takes his throwing lane. He turns it directly into a running lane. And Carson Wentz, being a great athlete that he is, makes you pay. That man coverage will kill you on that.
Nice play of the drive. And Howard is into the end zone. His first touchdown is a Philadelphia Eagle.
Well, Vaitai's playing tight end for a reason. He's going to collapse the right side. You're going to get a kick out, which is easy 6 points. Look at Vaitai collapse that right side. Lane Johnson swinging his hips, getting his body between the defender and the ball carrier. Just a well-executed, well-blocked play. But Vaitai playing tight end. Collapse it, big fella.
Howard piled up 24 rushing touchdowns his first 3 seasons in Chicago. And now his first with his new team in Philadelphia. In fact, that's the first rushing touchdown by an Eagle this season. Howard finishing things off.
Knocked up 9 months ago.
Your longtime teammate, some believe the greatest running back of all time, Barry Sanders.
Well, if they don't believe it, they need to check their belief system.
Because there's no doubt.
You know, you're a Northeast Ohio guy, though. They had this guy named Jim Brown who played up there for a while.
He's good, too. Just because I say Barry's great doesn't diminish the greatness of
Listen,
Barry's.
enough of you. I want to hear from Carissa Thompson.
You're right.
Thank you, Tom. Well, the Eagles will get the Packers this Thursday night on Fox, so here's a preview of what's going on with them right now. Aaron Rodgers' free play finds Marquez Valdez-Scantling for that 40-yard score. Packers offense, how about them? Up early, 7-0. Tom, Chris, and Shannon.
All righty, thank you very much, Carissa. We'll be checking in with Carissa throughout the entire afternoon. So this is the first play from scrimmage run by the Lions. And it will be a pass play and a throw and a catch to Kenny Golladay. Matthew Stafford, boy, you talk about tough, durable, productive. His 131st consecutive start at quarterback for the Lions.
Yeah, he's been clutch in fourth quarters, too. 28 fourth quarter comebacks. Leader amongst all active quarterbacks in the National Football League.
And that streak, the third longest active streak to Phillip Rivers and Matt Ryan. It's the 6th longest streak in the history of the league by a quarterback. Second down and 3. Danny Amendola is about a yard short of the first down, maybe a yard and a half. What about this Detroit offense? They've added the big tight end out of Iowa.
Well, their tight ends are part of their offense, which hasn't been the case in Detroit for a long time. You see Jesse James, number 83, just come into the picture. The guy that's the key is Kerryon Johnson. I think Kerryon is a running back that people are excited about. He had a nice rookie year, had some injuries. But if he's healthy, he can hurt you both in the run and the passing game. In fact, he protected Stafford on that last blitz on that first play of this drive.
Third down, they run it. And that's enough for a first down for Kerryon Johnson. They'll move the chains. Philadelphia defensively quite stingy early this year against the run. They've been extremely vulnerable against the pass.
Yeah, well, Jim Schwartz is an aggressive guy, right? And it's a cliche, but it's true. You live by the blitz, you die by the blitz. But he trusts his guys, and he wants to play to win the game and call a game, not to lose a game. He's going to put trust in his guys, and they got to go out and make plays.
For Schwartz, a former head coach of these Detroit Lions, and the catch made by Marvin Jones Jr. Another first down to the 43-yard line.
So they're picking on Darby, right? And it's all about a double move. And if you're in man coverage and you're looking back at the quarterback, you're going to get beat, and Marvin Jones does this. Now Stafford puts his ball on target. Marvin Jones is doing a touchdown dance, but he had to make a tough catch, which should have been 6 points. Double move again. We saw it on the Eagles, and we see it there with Marvin Jones Jr.
Well, Darby's come all the way back from a torn ACL a season ago. Maybe not quite yet at 100%. Kerryon Johnson trying to spin his way out of a couple of tackles. First met by Sendejo.
So coming back from injuries, right? Darby, Fletcher Cox. It's been my experience as a player. Being healthy and being ready to play are two different things. You have to get used to the speed of the game, and that's impossible to mimic in practice. I expect Darby and Fletcher Cox to play at a high level today. Big difference in healthy and difference in playing ready to play the game.
That was not a good sign for the Lions. Mike Daniels came over as a free agent from Green Bay, headed back to the locker room. And now Stafford running around, still on his feet, and it's incomplete. You know, you talk about guys maybe being healthy but not ready to play football, and we've seen it early on from this Philadelphia pass rush. You know, they've had Brandon Graham coming back, trying to get the swing of things, along with Fletcher Cox.
Now, Fletcher Cox is a guy that had 10.5 sacks. He made a play in a screenplay that looked like the old Fletcher Cox. And actually, let's isolate Fletcher Cox right here. See what he can do. If you blitz, he should be one-on-one, and he is.
They're down in 10. What a catch in traffic made by Golladay. He had Darby all over him. And I'm interested to see where they're going to spot this football.
I'm not sure about the spot here. I think it's a favorable spot.
Yes, it is.
For the Lions. And you see the route, and Galladay's going to push his route past the line to gain, which allows him to work back for the football. Good coverage by Darby in a very favorable spot.
So it's enough for a first down.
Let's see Ragnow handle Cox right there on protection, allowing Golladay to get there.
Kerryon Johnson inside the 30, down to the 28-yard line. You know, when second down, they hurry up to the line of scrimmage. Let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Big Tom, Raiders, Vikings. Kirk Cousins play action will find his favorite target, Adam Thielen. 35-yard score. Thielen second of the year. Vikings up 7-0. Yes.
All of a sudden, all eyes are on Kirk Cousins after an extremely disappointing game a week ago. And into the open field, another first down inside the 20. It's Kerryon Johnson.
Well, Nick Bawden is the guy that keys this play. Watch the fullback. He's going to start this way, bringing linebackers, and he comes back. And again, not a devastating block, but does his job by getting a good position on Brown, allowing Kerryon Johnson to squirt through the hole. Now, one thing about Kerryon Johnson, you watch him, he's not going to take a loss. He's always falling forward. That's how good he is. Big fan of Kerryon Johnson.
First down. Stafford throws to the corner. Catch is made inside the 5. It'll be first and goal as he finds the number 3 tight end, Logan Thomas.
When you have a guy like Jesse James, who's a threat in the red area, TJ Hawkinson, threat in the red area, that gives that man Bevel, the offensive coordinator, Darryl, all kinds of tools to work with, and Logan Thomas is a huge target.
We have an injured player on the field. We'll step out. 10 plays on this drive. It started at the Lions 25. They split it right down the middle in the run game and the pass game. And we're under a minute to play here in the opening quarter. What an exciting quarter it has been.
That defensive rest too. They needed one.
Another Eagle injured. Going off the field, Derek Barnett. First and goal, and Kerryon Johnson just short of a touchdown inside the 1. On what will more than likely be the final play of this opening quarter. It's one of the vast differences in this Lions offense from a year ago. They used to get to the line of scrimmage rather quickly, not all the time in hurry-up mode, but now they are a huddle-it-up team.
They are, and that's why they brought Darrell Bevell in, and they want to be a run-first, in-your-face type of football team, and that's the identity that Quinn and Matt Patricia and that man right there, Darrell Bevell, are trying to build.
All righty, a wild opening quarter. The Eagles in front 10-7. You're watching the National Football League on Fox. Welcome back to Lincoln Financial Field. 1 quarter in the books. The Lions on this 11-play drive. Second and goal inside the 1, trying to recapture the lead. Out of the I formation, they give it to Johnson, and he was stood up right at the goal line. Did he break the plane? No signal given for a touchdown. Apparently he did not get in.
Nigel Bradham, number 53, does a good job of standing up the defender, then the pressure Nathan Gary coming in. You see the ball's in the right arm right there. That did not cross the plane. If I'm Stafford, I sneak it. I don't care what's called. I run a sneak to the bubble. The bubble's to the right side.
Stafford's going to throw it. And in the back of the end zone, it's a touchdown to the rookie T.J. Hockenson. But there is a penalty flag down. There was movement along the line of scrimmage, it appeared. There's a flag in the secondary, along with a hat thrown down. You wonder if Hockenson went out of bounds, came back inbounds before the touchdown, and was the first man to touch the ball.
When the official throws his hat down, that's usually the indication.
There's no foul in the end zone. Player stepped out of bounds, came back in. I rule that's an incomplete pass. However, offside, defense, number 66 in the neutral zone at the snap. Half the distance to the goal, and repeat, 3rd down.
That's Akeem Spence, who they just brought in a week ago.
Let's see if we can see Hockenson, number 88, at the top of your screen, working off of Malcolm Jenkins. And I think that left toe was on the out-of-bounds line.
You're right. All right, it's a 3rd down. And they hand it to Johnson up and over the top and into the end zone for Kerryon Johnson. His first rushing touchdown of this 2019 season. And going to give it to the big fella Joe Dahl to throw it down. What an impressive drive that was.
And they needed that to give their defense a rest, who was on the field the whole first quarter. These guys are all standing up. You need these guys to top the jumper. When the defensive line stands up, you have nobody that's a linebacker or a second-level player able to hit that guy and meet him mid-air when it's on the half-yard line. They got a submarine, then we're the toppers. Topper, you know what I mean?
I know.
You got to go top out.
I mean, you're the kind of guy that used to make a living doing that kind of thing.
You got to go low, so I can go high. We both can't go high.
Going after is good, but the question is, would you make sure the guy took a beating when he leaped into the air? Yes or no?
I take my shots. Yes, I do. All the time. All day.
You know, you're built like Rocky Balboa.
Huh?
Did you go sprinting up those steps at the Art Museum here?
I rejected that challenge because it is no challenge. Who was that? That's Mr. T in Rocky 3. When Rocky called him, I reject the challenge because you are no challenge. Those steps are no challenge.
Wow. All right. I mean, you and Shannon Spiggs are always out there on that road work.
Yeah.
Bang through the back of the end zone. Bill Belichick and Andy Reid divergent coaching trees. You know about Belichick. Much was made for a long time about guys that, were under him, have not been head coaches. Well, they have 3 combined playoff appearances. A good job, especially by Bill O'Brien and now Mike Vrabel. Well, what about Andy Reid? Peterson, John Harbaugh in Baltimore, Ron Rivera, McDermott off to a big start, of course, in Buffalo. 250 regular season wins and 2 Super Bowl wins.
Andy Reid's really a bright guy. Offensively, there's none better.
So now the Eagles back on offense, rolling his wings. He'll slide up to the 29-yard line. Gain of close to 4. We'll see where they spot him. Shannon Spake.
Yeah, Tom, you heard Chris mention that 13-play drive by the Lions, how good that was for their defense to get a break. And I will tell you, when they came over to the sideline, they were completely gassed, much more refreshed as they walk back out onto the field. They will be without Mike Daniels, however. He has a foot injury, is questionable. And with Deshaun Hand already out of this game, that's another hit to that line.
Yeah, in fact, extremely thin there. We asked Matt Patricia about that yesterday. Wentz on second down and somehow escapes trouble, and then had a wide open receiver in Miles Sanders, and he just got rid of the ball quickly.
Yeah, he just wanted to get rid of the football, and again, if he just waits a little bit more patient, and I think what happens is Carson's going to feel a little bit more pressure than he had because he does buy time with his feet. Miles Sanders does a good job in running scramble drill. That means change your route. If the quarterback is changing his route in the backfield, just missed opportunity right there.
Talked about no points in the opening quarter for the Eagles in 12 of their last 18 games. So they have 10 points in the opening quarter today. 2 of 3 on third down so far. This is another. And they'll convert, making it 3 out of 4. That is Matt Collins, a third-year receiver out of the University of North Carolina.
This is such a good route because it's sharp. Watch at the end of the route. He's not going to round it. What he's going to do is come straight down the line, which cuts off the angle of the defensive back. Sometimes we see receivers round that route when they break out, and that allows the defensive back to recover. He came straight down that line and gave himself a big target for Carson Wentz to hit.
We have not seen Jordan Howard on the field on this drive for Philadelphia. They hand it to Sanders. Of course, he was Saquon Barkley's backup for back-to-back years at Penn State before finally getting a chance to be the main man for the Nittany Lions last year, and he'll go off as Howard comes on.
I think it's a nice 1-2 combination, and they had to get Jordan Howard involved, and they did in the first quarter. When you're starting slow as they have in the season, your 2 top receivers are out of the game. You traded for Jordan Howard for a reason, and they started to use him, and he was very effective when they put him in the ball game and gave him an opportunity.
You notice that Jason Peters, the 9-time Pro Bowl left tackle of the Eagles, who was shaken up last week, is not on the field. This throw is in time again to Hollins, and he's to the 45, and a late flag comes in from the secondary after the catch had already been made. That's going to be pushing offensive pass interference against Philadelphia. Well,
it's a good call because you're going to see Hollins' left hand extend on Darius Slay.
Pass interference, offense number 16, 10-yard penalty. We paid second down.
Right there, that left hand got extended with contact, and that's a signal for the official to drop the flag on the OPI. You see that left hand extend? Left arm. Darius will talk to you.
Oh, yeah.
The one thing I love about that guy, I mean, he got it handed to him last week. But you know what? It didn't matter because in the fourth quarter, he's so confident and trusts his ability. He saved the game for the Detroit Lions.
Well, he was worn out by Keenan Allen the entire day. As that's the first catch by Arcega-Whiteside, the rookie out of Stanford. Let's check in with Shannon.
Yeah, guys, watching Jason Peters down here on the sideline. He is sitting on the bench, and some of the team, they're attending to him right now. I'll definitely keep my eye on him and see if he's going to get back out there.
It's Andre Dillard now, the #1 pick for the Eagles. Out of Washington State, getting a shot. That's why you draft these guys. You can't have enough offensive linemen. You got to get a guy that's been playing for 20 years. Hyperbole there, but Jason Peters.
Well, not far off.
Yeah, not far off.
17. Wentz steps into the throw, and that is a bullet that's dropped by Aguilar. That was something, of course, that plagued this #1 pick out of SC early in his career. Has been much better over the last season or two since he was benched in a game by Doug Peterson.
Well, and it's a drive killer, right? And Nelson makes a lot of great plays for this team, but this is a routine play. You see the long arms of Justin Coleman come in and strip it out of there. You've got to be able to secure that to keep a drive alive, and he does not with the drop.
Aguilar had 10 drops his first 2 years in the league. It was 2016. He was benched by Peterson. He's only had 9 drops ever since. Amendola fields the punt on the 20-yard line. Well, there have been some great ones to suit him up for these guys. Reggie White, our main man, Spiels. Randall. And Barry Sanders. Spiels. Producer Mark Titleman is putting me in a very precarious situation, standing next to Chris Spielman and reminding him of that '95 NFC wildcard game. Chris Spielman and the Lions gave up 58 at the Vet. That was your final game as a Detroit Lion. I had nothing to do with putting that together.
No, hey, I publicly apologize to all the fans of Detroit. I'm sorry we let you down. To have somebody hang a half 100 on your rear end, it's embarrassing. We let you down. Hopefully this Lions team, if you're a Lions fan, will make amends for our atrocity last time they were here.
I'm sure you were really pleasant to be around in the locker room after that game. It turned out to be your final year after so many great seasons with the Lions, a number of Pro Bowls, and at that point in time, it was time to take care of your wife.
Yeah. Well, later on, I ended up going to Buffalo. Then Stephanie got sick, and I was able to make a decision. God bless me financially to where I was able to have that choice. But I love playing for the Lions. It's a great city. It's a football state. Hockey town, no sir. Football town, absolutely.
Now you just made half our audience mad. The hockey fans out there. There are a lot of hockey fans that watch the Lions every week.
How's that different than any other week that I make half the audience mad?
You make me mad.
What's up? Second down. Eagles got to get some confidence on defense and get a stop. See what adjustments Jim Schwartz makes. Man coverage.
And that's a false start on the offense.
False start. Offense, number 88. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Let's check in with Kurt Menefee. Hiya, Kurt.
Hello, Tom. Eagles fans know this well. This is LaShawn McCoy scoring for Andy Reid's team. Now, both are in Kansas City. That puts the Chiefs on top of the Ravens early in the second quarter. By a point, Ravens scored on a Mark Ingram run and missed the two-point conversion. Tom?
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. So after the penalty, brings up second down from the 33-yard line. They set up the screen to Ty Johnson, and that's sniffed out beautifully by Philadelphia. The 11-year Pro Bowl veteran out of Ohio State University, Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm has been steady and consistent for this team for a long time. He had a great read on the football and an excellent break. Initially missed the tackle, but he's going to give it his all. Got back up off the ground and made the tackle.
Well, they don't like hearing about those guys from Ohio State back in Detroit.
No, not right now.
Especially right now.
See if Barnett, the Brandon Graham, a Michigan guy, can get some pressure.
Barnett is back in there after leaving earlier in the game. Stafford rolling, pump fake, and he'll dump it off to carry on Johnson, but well short of the first down. So for the first time from either team today, we will see a punt. At least from the Detroit side of things. And their punter, of course, been around a long time out of Appalachian State, Sam Martin. Been a good punter for them for a long time. You know, we brought up on the punt return for a touchdown or the kickoff return for a touchdown. The special teams have just been brutal so far this year for the Lions. That one nearly blocked. And it will check up inside the 10. Perfectly done by Martin. Well, he's been doing that a long time. Our all-time favorites used to don the fedoras on the sideline. Paul Brown, Tom Landry, Papa Bear Hallis, Vince Lombardi. But now, Chris, they opt for the visor look.
Yeah, Doug Peterson going visor, doing that for a long time.
First down for Wentz and the Eagles. They hand it off to Sanders, dancing around and picks up 2, maybe 3 yards. Trey Flowers, the first one there to wrap him up, and an injured Eagle. That's Dillard, who's already in there replacing the injured Jason Peters. This is not good news for the Eagles, wounded so deeply already on the offensive side. Peters already injured. Dillard took over for him. He's walking to the sideline, and now Halapuli Vaitai takes over at left tackle.
Now, this is something you hate to see because it's so often, though, that when linemen get hurt, you can see that ankle got twitched a little bit. When linemen get hurt, oftentimes it's because of the backside pursuit when they're trying to finish a block or finish a play. They have no protection. Vaitai playing left tackle right there.
Second down and 8, closing in on 8 minutes to go until halftime. And again, it's Miles Sanders. I mean, ever since we saw, you know, a couple of carries, 4 of them, for a total of 20 yards from Howard, including an 11-yard run. He had a touchdown in the game. He has not been on the field by and large in 3 of their 4 drives so far today.
Hey, you would think they had success with Jordan Howard in the ball game, but if it's a type of personnel grouping or matchup that Doug Peterson wants, and this is what you go with.
Third down. And wide open across the middle. The dependable Zach Ertz to move the chains.
Now, this is the thing. I have no idea how he can come this wide open on 3rd down, knowing that he's the #1 target. I think right there, Jared Davis dropped him a little bit too early, because there's one priority when you're playing a depleted offense: take away the offensive weapon in Zach Ertz.
And the football is loose. It's still loose. And it looked like Selamatu may have covered it up. How in the world did that ball come squirting out of there, seemingly with nothing but white jerseys around? Sanders puts it on the ground.
Okora is the one that knocks it out, and a big break for the Eagles right there, and a missed opportunity for the Lions. You see Okora right there stripping that ball out, and you know, you might give him a little bit of a break and get Howard back in there to get something going with Jordan Howard, because the offense was effective when Howard was in the ball game and the primary ball carrier.
But he is in there now. And they'll put it in his hands. And not much running room there. We'll bring up another 3rd down. We'll call this one 3rd and 5. You know, it's interesting when you look at the New York Giants. 3 very good players on this Lions team. The Giants just let walk right out the door.
And Devon Kennard's been the most consistent out of all them. Got it.
This is going to be against the Lions, and the crowd really upset. They throw the pass, and they're telling the receiver, Arthega, to keep on running.
There's no play. Encroachment. Defense number 92. This 5-yard penalty will create a first down.
And the reason they blow the whistle is they don't want a defender hitting the quarterback there, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
On a free shot.
And I think also contact was made on an offensive lineman. So if contact is made, then right away it's over. And that's the 2nd time in this ball game that Carson Wentz has hit him with the hard counts. You see the left hand, one on Kelsey, and I believe the rule is if contact's made on an offensive lineman, then you automatically blow it dead.
Well, sometimes you'll see a free play situation like that. But in this case, they blew it. Blew it dead. Sanders back in there, takes a big hit, but stays on his feet up to the 45. That'll be a gain of 6 on first down. As we're at 5.5 to go until halftime. A very entertaining opening half here in Philadelphia. Sanders again. And he appears to have picked up a first down. Is that ball loose? Picked up by a Lion. That's A'Shawn Robinson. And waiting to hear from the officials if this is a fumble. Well, you got to wonder if Sanders, if he fumbled here.
Detroit. First down.
It is a fumble, and Sanders getting the bulk of the carries, and the rookie twice puts it on the ground during this offensive series.
You see right here, and here comes Sanders into your picture, and he is down.
He's down.
He's down. The elbow hits, then the ball comes out. Watch the left elbow. Oh, no. Oh, no. That's a fumble.
That's definitely a fumble.
Boy, what a great job of coming in and punching at the football. That is a fumble.
It's Jared Davis who came in there and popped it out of there.
Yes, sir. And you just have to maybe settle Sanders down a little bit.
All right, let's check in with Dean Blandino, former head of NFL officials, of course, and now with us. We're lucky to have him here at Fox. That looked like a fumble all the way, didn't it, Dino?
Yeah, you know, we were thinking initially maybe he was down because that elbow hit, but a great look here, ground level shot. You can see the ball out before the elbow touches, and that looks like a great call on the field.
Hey, Dean, I want to go back to something here after this play and ask you about that call a minute ago about blowing the play dead. Sometimes you'll see a free play in that situation. Sometimes, in this case, you did not. It would have been a huge gain. And coming the other way is McKissic. First time he's touched the football today. And he's inside the 20, inside the 10, and run out of bounds at the 8-yard line.
Well, this is a great call because you're playing down the emotions. The defense comes out, okay, let's get a stop. You hit him with a misdirection, and J.D. McKissic is going to come around the end. Execution with a pitch from Kerryon Johnson. Guys getting downfield and blocking. If he just stays right up inside there, I think he's going to have a big gain. But J.D. McKissic getting an opportunity to do something for his team and teammates. Good call right there by Darrell Bevell. Excellent.
It's a 43-yard gain on just the third carry this year by McKissic. All right, Dean, real quick, for some of those Eagles fans that are wondering, hey, why didn't that play, why wasn't it a free play and the big long pass completion? What's the difference?
Sometimes when the defender, when he gets in the neutral zone and gets even with those offensive linemen, the officials are told to kill the play because you don't want a free shot on the quarterback. So sometimes you're going to get that. And also there's contact. If there's contact by the defender, that by rule is encroachment. They're going to shut that down every time.
All righty. Thank you very much, Dean Blandino. So here's Stafford looking to the end zone. And well covered defensively by the Eagles. Philadelphia on the move, trying to get back in front. But Sanders has it popped out of his arm by Jared Davis, and after the big run by McKissic, it is 3rd and goal for Detroit.
So expect pressure right here from Jim Schwartz. The ball has to come out in a hurry because you have less field to work with, and can you win your one-on-one matchups?
A general look for Golladay. He's been their 3rd down money man. And they're looking for Hockenson, and beautifully defended by the Philadelphia Eagles. That was Rasul Douglas.
6'2" corner, so you're going to match him up best you can with T.J. Hockenson. And this is a poor throw by Matthew Stafford. You want to throw that a little bit low. And actually, you know, that's a very catchable ball for a guy like T.J. But Rasul Douglas, being that 6'2" corner and long arms, is able to get in there and affect the pass.
Was told that Jason Peters, reported earlier by Shannon, is feeling sick. So it'll be a 25-yard field goal try by Prater. And even though he missed a point after and a field goal last week, he drills this one through to make it a 17-10 game with 3:29 to play until halftime. Coming up Saturday, Errol the True Spence Jr. takes on Showtime Shawn Porter. A World Championship unification bout at the Staples Center. And champion Anthony Durrell defends his title. All Saturday, 9 Eastern, 6 Pacific. On live pay-per-view or order on the Fox Sports app. Carissa Thompson, you're out in L.A. today.
I sure am, Tom. Giving you an update right now on the Chiefs and the Ravens. Early advantage goes to Patrick Mahomes as somehow he finds Demarcus Robinson on this 18-yard score. Chiefs up 14-6. Tom, Chris, and Shannon.
All righty, thank you very much, Carissa. So after the takeaway, it becomes a field goal for the Lions.
Good response by the Eagles defense. They give up that big play, but they tighten up and hold the Lions after a takeaway to only a field goal, and as opposed to obviously the 6 points. That's a win for them.
This is Sanders, who turned it over a moment ago, and he is clotheslined with a helmet ripped off of his head by Miles Killebrew, and no flag down.
Yeah, I don't get why there's no flag, because everybody saw this. And there's the grab and twist, and however you want to define a face mask in this world, that's the definition of a face mask. You know, the officials get a lot of heat, a lot of criticism, but that's one you cannot miss. If we're going to preach about the safety of the player and safety of the game, and they know they missed it. I don't know why they missed it, but you better be able to enforce something so egregious as that play right there. Watch again. There's Killebrew coming in.
Sanders is really fortunate he wasn't extremely hurt here.
Yeah.
Wow. Brown can't believe it. First down, Wentz looking across the middle to Zach Ertz. He leapfrogged a defender, and he's up to the 40-yard line. Zach Ertz. What a player. What a player is Zach Ertz.
Well, they create ways to get him the football. You have to identify. He's going to get a bump right here on Kennard. Wentz does a good job of looking away, getting Zach Ertz the ball in space. And as a defender, if your eyes are to the ground, you're not going to see your target to make a hit. Happened to Tracy Walker. Eyes up, head up.
Wentz on a run pass option there. And he's up to the 43-yard line. Zach Ertz has just jumped from Pete Retzloff, longtime great, and now all zeroed in on Harold Carmichael's franchise record for receptions by an Eagle. And if Ertz keeps going the way he's going, that's about 2 years out, if that. Great protection. And that's caught by Hollins. It'll take us to the 2-minute warning. So the ball at the 45, Detroit a 7-point lead. Well, Barry Sanders wasn't the only great Detroit Lion to wear number 20 work out of the backfield. How about the former Sooner Billy Sims?
You know, for fans, football fans were deprived because Billy's career was cut short from knee injuries, but he was just a fascinating player and a great guy. You know, sometimes when you get a bad call or a call that should have gone your way, the face mask that was missed, that can galvanize a team and fire up a team. And so far this drive, it's happened to the Eagles. Now can they finish?
Ball at the Detroit 45. 2 minutes to go. The Eagles with all 3 timeouts. A catch, and was it a fumble by Aguilar? Picked up and racing the other way is Darius Slay. Wentz runs him down. And the question was, is it a catch and then a fumble? And apparently the officials are going to get together. But it looked as though that's the call.
Yeah, I think he made a football move after securing the ball. And I think this is the correct call by the officials. There's the catch. He has the ball, tucks it away, makes a football move.
That's a case where Eagle fans wish Aguilar would have dropped it. It's funny sometimes, be careful what you wish for. And of course, any change of possession, they will look it over, and they're going to do that. So make sure that this was indeed a catch. And then a fumble by Aguilar. They're leaning so heavily upon this young man here today with injuries to Jackson and Jeffrey. Well, the call stands. The ruling on the field, a catch by Aguilar, then a fumble. So it's back-to-back drives that end with Philadelphia fumbles. Sanders and now Aguilar.
You got an alert for Stafford taking a shot in the end zone right here.
First down for the Lions, already leading 17-10. They're going to hand it off to Johnson, who breaks out of a tackle from Graham. Dean, you were a little surprised. You thought maybe this might be an incompleted pass.
Normally, when the receiver loses the football without any contact, he never actually put it away. But if you watch it, he does get control. He does take 2 steps. And then the all-important question, did he have it long enough to do something with it? The key was the referee announced the ruling on the field stands. So what they said is we didn't see enough evidence to overturn it from a catch fumble to incomplete.
Again, thank you for being all over it. It's a second down, and they come back the other way to Amendola, and that was sniffed out right from the get-go by Douglas.
Well, and he's on it so quick. It's a tough block for Taylor Decker. The left tackle is going to try to get out here to get some type of block, but Douglas gets such a good read. And see Taylor coming out to get him, and there's no angle for him because Douglas had a great read.
Timeout called by Philadelphia, their first. And we will check in with Carissa Thompson.
Big Tom Broncos, Packers tied at 10. Joe Flacco sacked by Preston Smith. Fumble is recovered by Green Bay. So 2 plays later, it sets up this. Aaron Jones scores from 7 yards out. Packers up 17-10. Tom Christensen.
I think it's a better game than most anticipated. Just a 7-point spread. All right, third down and 8. With 1:04 to go until halftime. And a very quiet opening half for Galladay. And it's Marvin Jones inside the 15. So it brings up a 4th down and 2. And a timeout called by the Lions to think this one over. Or by the Eagles, I beg your pardon. They'll spend their second timeout. We have the Visa halftime coming up. How about it, Kurt Menefee?
Walk with me through the Visa halftime as the undefeated Ravens take on the undefeated Chiefs. We'll see if the Jets can get their first win of the season against the unbeaten Patriots. And Buffalo will try to go to 3-0. We'll walk you through it all coming up on the Visa halftime.
All right, Chris Spielman, 4th down and 3. You're Matt Patricia, Darrell Bevell. You know that. Remember what happened in week 1? They call the timeout. Then all of a sudden, Matthew Stafford screaming, "Trust me, trust me," and they deliver last week.
I'm on the road. I'm taking points.
Okay.
At halftime, I'm taking points, and I like Philadelphia using the timeout because it gives them 59 seconds, so they'll have time to do something with 1 timeout left.
Raider from 33 yards out.
I think this is absolutely the right call. You don't want to come away with 0.
The play clock to 10 seconds.
And could be another win for the Eagles defense as far as mentally goes of holding them to a field goal, forcing bad position by your offense. Offense has got to start holding up its end of the bargain in those green jerseys locker room. Come on.
All right, Raiders set out of the hold of Martin. Now another timeout is called. This one by the Lions. It's like nobody wants to try this 4th down field goal in the final 59 ticks of the opening half. Sanders on one drive put it on the ground twice. The first time the Eagles recovered it. The second time the Lions got it, turned it into a field goal.
It's just self-inflicted wounds, right? And that's been what the problem for the Eagles, at least today. And their defense has done a good job of limiting the Lions to just 7 points by forcing them to at least a field goal attempt, which is the case right here for Matt Prater.
All right, so perhaps finally ready for this try. Muehlbach will snap it. Martin will hold it. Prater will kick it. And it is good from Prater to make it a 10-point spread with 57 seconds left to play in this opening half. You know, you look at the teams. The Eagles have piled up, Chris Spielman, 231 yards of offense. Now, the Lions haven't had to do that much offensively. They had the big kickoff return for a touchdown. But you wonder, do these field goals rather than touchdowns come back to hurt the Lions?
Well, that's the thing. I think you go into the locker room and you say, literally, we're lucky only be down 20-10. That's if they don't get any points here because of the turnover. So they're all self-inflicted wounds. Now, how do you respond in the second half? We do know one thing about this Eagles team, at least early this year. They've been a second half football team.
Yep. Well, the Lions will get the ball to begin the second half after winning the toss and deferring the opening kickoff. Well, they go 7 yards after the fumble. And now Martin will spin it away, and this is Sanders. And he's out across the 20 to the 24-yard line.
Well, if they get it going on offense, it's got to be Zach Ertz, and he's done a great job today. Doug Peterson does a nice job right there. That's a good game plan, doubling him up. But when you single Zach Ertz up like this with Melvin, he will make you pay. He's a difficult cover for anybody. I don't care what the position. How about blocking? Zach Ertz can do it all-purpose tight end. And again, Carson Wentz, when you need trouble, find 86. He can make things happen, especially run after catch as he jumps over Tracy Walker right there for extra yards.
Caught it every time they've thrown it to him today. They're without Deshaun Jackson, who had the monster week 1 in his return to the Philadelphia Eagles, the 2 50-yard plus touchdown receptions. And without Alshon Jeffrey. They go to Ertz once more, and for the first time incomplete. Shannon Spake.
Yeah, Tom, they're also without some of those guys on the line. Andre Dillard with a knee injury. He is questionable. Jason Peters, you had mentioned the illness, questionable to return. I've been watching Jason Peters throughout this second quarter. He has been standing up. He is on the sideline. He even has his helmet with him. So if he can get back into this game, he certainly is going to try.
And we really not seen much of Dallas Goedert in this game. Very valuable weapon as their second tight end. Had over 30 catches a season ago. Second down and 10. And Wentz looking downfield, and he'll take the sack. And for Kennard, that'll be his 4th of the year. He had 3 in the first half of week 1 in Arizona. And I think the Eagles are going to go ahead and let this clock wrap up for the opening half.
I think that's a good move right there. Devin Kennard has been probably the most consistent line defender since Bob Quinn and Matt Patricia picked him up. Good in pass rush, good against the run. Actually not bad in coverage, but a really good player. Wise call by that man right there. Let's go regroup. Get back to the chalkboard, as they say. I don't know if they make chalkboards. Grease board. What is it going on now?
Well, I mean, you know,
something.
All depends on what you believe in. You're old school, so you would still use the chalkboard.
Yeah, there you go. Yes.
Sonny Spielman.
You got it. Old cleats. Wear your old cleats.
That's right. None of this soft serve stuff. 20-10, the Lions in front, and you know, the crowd booing this Philadelphia team. Their defense has played pretty good football in this game.
Well, again, it's 2 halves, and this team does have confidence. They've had success in the second half. Carson Wentz in the first half of the first 2 games completed 52% of his passes. In the second half, he comes back out at 72%. So there is hope for this Eagles comeback.
20-10. Matt Patricia, of course, undergoing Achilles tendon surgery just before the year started, so he's starting to get around a lot better. End of the opening half, 20-10. Stay tuned for the Visa halftime report. Kurt and company coming up right after these messages. one all the way. He will take it all the way. Jamal Agnew, 100 yards. Howard is into the end zone. His first touchdown is the Philadelphia Eagles. Our game flow brought to you by Progressive. So here we are at halftime. The Lions on the road, a 20-10 lead. 2 critical turnovers. You know, a lot of people wondered about slow starts for Philadelphia. You talked about it at the very beginning. The Eagles have almost 230 yards of offense.
It's not necessarily slow, but sloppy, right?
Right.
Kickoff return for touchdown turnovers. But if they lose this game by 4 points or less, Carson Wentz is going to kick himself because that's a bad throw. Hollins has the guy on his back. Carson throws it inside and high. If he throws that ball outside and low like he's supposed to throw it outside and low, that's 7 points, assuming they made the extra point, as opposed to settling for 3. That was a huge play in this ball game, and we'll see if that comes back to haunt them as we progress on through.
6 points off the 2 takeaways for the Lions. Both times having to send Prater out. So here we go to begin the second half. The last time that Agnew was taking a kickoff, he brought it back 100 yards. He'll have to do better than that if he's going to bring this one out, which he will not. And so up to the 25, Shannon Spake catching up with the coaches at halftime.
Hey there, Tom. So here's a little secret that both head coaches realized going into this second half. The Eagles this season in the first 2 games have been a second half team. It's something Matt Patricia told me he has told his team many times coming into this game. Something else both of these coaches told me, they have to stop hurting themselves. Penalties, turnovers, lack of communication. I did ask Doug Peterson if he would have to adjust the way he calls this second half because of the injuries to that left tackle position. And he said, nope, we're going to stay aggressive and we're going to continue to try to run the ball.
All right, great stuff, Shannon. Thank you very much. First down carry by Kerryon Johnson. He's up to the 28-yard line. That'll be a gain of 3. Johnson in the opening half had 10 carries for just 28 yards. Their rushing numbers look a lot better than they really are because they had the 143-yard run by McKissick.
A lot of times with this type of offense, because it's more of a play-action offense that Darrell Bevell is brought into Detroit, they run the ball to set up other plays. You stay with it and stay committed because it helps you execute the rest of your offense.
That's McKissick in motion, and they hand it off again to Johnson.
That's a great cut.
And he's up to the 34, about a yard short.
I talked about what makes a great running back, right? Vision, falling forward, making a man miss. Watch the vision in the cut. Get ready to freeze it, boys. Freeze it right there. See the jump cut, and you have his ability to see that hole and sneak on through. That's just a great cut in the patience of a second-year running back as opposed to a first-year running back on the other side in Miles Sanders.
Third down and 1. And this is going to be very close. Oh, he fell forward. He got through the pile. That's easily a first down. There you see Johnson all the way up to the 37.
It's interesting that you say fall forward because that's on my top 3 for what makes a really good running back in the NFL. First of all, vision, as you said, Tom, falling forward and able to make a guy in the hole miss. And my percentage is 7 out of 10. If you have a running back can then make an on-block player in the hole miss 7 out of 10 times, you are going to have an effective running game.
Well, they bring the rookie from Maryland, Ty Johnson, for this first down and a false start against the Lions.
False start. Offense. Number 60. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
That's a Michigan man, Graham Glasgow.
He's been a good player for them. Played center last year, moved over to guard. So that man, 77, right beside him, Frank Ragnow, can go back to his more natural position at center. The first-round pick from a year ago out of Arkansas.
Speaking of Michigan, what in the world is going on there with the Wolverines?
We'll figure it out. Because that's, in a lot of people's eyes, a lot of Michigan people's eyes, that's unacceptable with the performance they had against Wisconsin yesterday.
Those are the comments made by head coach Jim Harbaugh after the game as well. Beautiful throw, beautiful catch by Marvin. No, they say it was out of bounds.
Yeah.
Very, very close for Marvin Jones Jr.
The throw looked good, but the throw was late. Because he throws Marvin out too wide, and that left toe was the only one that was able to get down in bounds. And usually Matthews not going to be that late with the throw because he throws him out of bounds. You talk about throwing a guy open, he threw him out of bounds. He threw him incomplete on that one. That's a throw that he normally doesn't miss.
Jones, a leading receiver today. 3 catches, 44 yards. Galladay only 2 catches for 17. Blitz coming, and Malcolm Jenkins. That ball just thrown up in the air by Stafford, who is so fortunate. And Stafford does that from time to time. A couple of them last week, just sloppy throws and frequently picked off.
Yeah, I don't know what Matthews thinking, and I know Malcolm Jenkins, as we chalk up missed opportunities, not often do you have a free shot at a run at a quarterback. And Matthews very crafty, much like Carson Wentz in that pocket. They give a little shimmy sham shoulder shake type thing to make you miss. And he got away with an errant throw. That's for sure.
They're down at 15. Well, look at this Eagles defensive alignment. And Alliance called timeout.
He's going to question whether it was defensive pass interference.
So it is a challenge. Nigel Bradham had his back to the quarterback and was staring right at Danny Amendola. There also were Philadelphia defenders on each side of Amendola when that ball went in the air.
And let it be understood, because I hear this, people make this mistake all the time. You don't have to look back at the quarterback. If you don't look back at the quarterback, that doesn't automatically mean it's pass interference.
So face guard, in other words.
Yeah, that's not a rule.
It's hard to believe that that this would be called defensive pass interference, but who knows? So the challenge on the field, the play called on the field by Matt Patricia, and now Tony Corrente after
review,
a lengthy
the ruling
wait.
on the field of no pass interference will stand. There will be 4th down.
Dean, are you surprised that you would challenge that play based on what we've shown already?
I was a little bit surprised. Like Chris said, you can face guard. That's legal. There has to be significant contact that it hinders the receiver's ability to make a play on the ball. I thought this was a good, clean play, but this is where we are today. Now we're going to analyze these subjective calls and try to figure out what is and what isn't pass interference with slow motion replay.
Well, here's the thing, Dean and Tom. The whole thing is what's clear and obvious to Dean Blandino is not clear and obvious to me or to you. Everybody has an opinion. That certainly wasn't clear and obvious. I don't know why Matt challenged that, because he lost a timeout by doing that.
Already it'll be 3rd down and 15. And Stafford out of the shotgun. Great protection. And now it collapses, and he fires down the sideline. Jump ball and incomplete with an eye on Galladay. Losing speed there by Douglas to bat it away. Sendejo back in coverage as well.
It's a good way to start for the Eagles defense. Again, holding up their end of the bargain, getting a 3 and out to start the second half.
Puts a foot on it, booming punt, and a fair catch called for by Sproles inside the 20. Start Saturday strong. The big noon Saturday game of the week. Texas Tech rolling into Norman to take on Jalen Hurts and the 5th-ranked Oklahoma Sooners. Pre-game show on at 11 Eastern on Fox. Bob Stone, Kurt Gerbenmeyer, and Reggie Bush, Matt Minard, Brady Quinn, as Jason Peters is back on the field to begin the second half.
You know, I think one of the things, if you're not feeling well in this type of heat, sometimes if you go in the locker room, arms out, needles in, get a double IV, that's medicine for the soul and body, my friend. Double IVs.
First down, Wentz to throw it. Steps underneath trouble, and then able to find Ertz up to the 35-yard line. I beg your pardon, that's Hollins up to the 35-yard line.
Well, he's stepping up, right? One of these young wide receivers had to step up. with the injuries to Deshaun Jackson, Alshon Jeffrey. Mack Hollins is a guy that's been playing pretty well, staying alive. This right here, you get nothing. There's nothing coming from this four-man pressure that the Lions are bringing, so it allows Carson Wentz to sit there and survey, run a little scramble drill, and a receiver for a scramble drill, run to where they're not, change your route, and get in the vision of the quarterback so he can find you.
Jordan Howard back on the field. That's him in motion, and they fake it to him, and they put it in the hands of Aguilar. And he breaks one tackle and is up to the 40-yard line, a 5-yard gain. And let's send things back to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So Cowboys were up 10-6 on the Dolphins when Dak Prescott connects with Amari Cooper for this 19-yard touchdown, his second of the day. Cowboys leading 17-6. Tom?
Dak Prescott paid the man his money, as Teddy KGB said.
This is Jordan Howard, and he will plow forward up across the 45 for a Philadelphia first down. Howard, in the opening half, had a grand total of 5 carries for 23 yards. So now it's 6 and 28, including a touchdown. He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry.
Well, and that's why he started the second half. The young player, Sanders, put it on the ground, sit him on the bench, let him regather his composure. Get Howard in there, who's been very productive and is a north-south guy.
Howard again, and short of midfield, a gain of 3 on first down. You know, the run game was such a huge part of the Eagles' success when they won the Super Bowl in 2017. They were running it 30 times a game. Then last year that was down to 24. They were running it 44% of the time in their Super Bowl year. They ran it only 34% a year ago.
You have to. I mean, you want to run this RPO type of offense, and you have to actually run it once in a while. And they're doing a good job of that today.
Inside of the shotgun.
Miss.
Oh, and nearly intercepted, and 6 the other way for Darius Slay, who might be hurt. That looks like hamstring or calf or something there on Slay.
Could be a cramp because of the heat, but this is, again, Darren Sproles, a tough cover out. Darius Slay's a smart guy, jumping Ertz and also making a break on the football, and you feel he grabbed the back of that hamstring. And for all players' sake, just like Jason Peters, you hope it's just a cramp and not any type of pull. But you got a new corner in there right now in number 38, Ford. And if I'm the Eagles, I put a big X on that guy and attack that guy soon.
That's Ford in his second year out of Southeast Missouri. They're looking away from him.
No, right.
They're going right at him, I beg your pardon, and he will be whistled for pass interference, trying to get Hollins down the sideline.
Yeah, that's why I put a big red X on him, man. Or it was a yellow X in that case. Regardless, the X is the X, and that marks the spot, and that's where you attack when a guy's coming in cold off the bench.
Pass interference, offense number 16. This penalty has been declined. The result of the play is 4th down.
That's the second time today that Mack Hollins has been called for offensive interference, both times pushing off.
I don't know. The first one was obvious, and Ford, in good position, answered the challenge that the Eagles attacked him. He knew they were going to attack him. I didn't agree with that call, though. Nevertheless, line up, play football.
Former Buckeye Cameron Johnston, native Australian, puts a foot on it, and how about that? Oh, my.
So Luke Brenneman, pitching wedge. Where's that backspin? Get my country club.
Better get out on that driving range. Need some work.
November 20th, 1960. The Philadelphia Eagles are in a battle with first place on the line against the New York Giants. Fletcher Cox recreates the Chuck Bednarik hit.
100 years of football, you look at it and you say, wow, just think about the guys that did it before I did. He's a Hall of Famer, and one day that's somewhere I want to be in the Hall of Fame with a gold jacket.
Chuck Bednarik, one of the great names in Eagles franchise history. Alrighty, first down from the 1-yard line. And wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage is Kerryon Johnson. See, but at least those guys were wearing pads. This was unfair a week ago.
Well, I mean, I'll tell you.
I never saw it coming.
You could take a hit, though.
It's a defenseless player.
You know, I question your base. Your base isn't very strong, but you took the hit. Chuck Bednarik, great thing about him, last of the two-way players. I believe he was a center on offense. Well, Preston Brown made a great play right there. Almost got a safety. See if he can do it again.
Formation, they're going to throw it. And Stafford, how about that throw? And a first down up to the 14-yard line. First time we've called the name Jesse James.
If you got him, you got him. Man takes precedent over run. Right there. McLeod is there, but then he gets lost in the shuffle. And Jesse James and Matthews patient enough in that pocket, buying time with his feet within the pocket to get them out of the hole.
And James makes his first touch of the day. He's right to the sideline, shaken up. Long-time Steeler. Solid performer there for Mike Tomlin. Johnson makes a first man miss. But then Gary is there along with Hassan Ridgeway.
Kerryon Johnson always makes the first man miss. At least it seems that way. Just little sidesteps right there. And those are hidden yards that we talk about. Just getting back, giving your team a better position to fight from second down as opposed to getting tackled for a 5-yard loss. You got Mac knocked back for a 1-yard loss. Small wins. Even though it looked ugly, it was a small win for that man.
Stafford tries to drop it in there to Marvin Jones Jr. and Malcolm Jenkins with an outstanding play to knock it out of there.
This is a cover 2 look. That means he's playing in the short, knowing he has a safety over the top. Now there's nobody pulling Malcolm Jenkins up to him, so he's reading the quarterback's eyes, understanding that he has to get underneath that 7 cut, and does a good job of getting one hand on it to knock it away. Need a pressure for the Eagles from just 4 men. Can you get pressure with 4 guys? Only 2 sacks on the year coming in.
Yeah, and they don't have one today. 4-man rush. Stafford underthrows.
Well, he took a shot too, Tom.
And he was looking for a penalty flag down there. Or maybe he's upset with Golladay. I'm not sure. It looked like Curry and Graham were the ones that put him on his back.
So this is what we're talking about. You don't have to get a sack, but when you do, you have to get pressure, because pressure can bother a quarterback. And right here you see Brandon Graham closing in, and I believe that was Vinny Curry. Yep, on the other side. And a good job of Vinny Curry of not falling on top of Stafford.
Short punt and a fair catch right at the 50. No fair catch. It looked like initially that was Sproles waving a hand, but he brings it inside the 50. And the Eagles in business to start this drive. Hot one out there today, Chris Spielman.
Yeah.
And teams are all covered up.
Yeah, look at this guy. He's got 2 hands. This guy's taking a break. He's not holding up his end of the bargain, but, you know, shade is important to keep your players refreshed.
How do you get that job?
I don't know. That's a mental toughness test, and I commend them. 2 hands. He's 2 hands. You're 1 hand. You're slacking.
Guy. I mean, come on, he's younger.
You're slacking. 2 hands. Big, important drive right here. Field position, defense setting up this offense again. Can they take advantage?
First down, and the carry is for Jordan Howard, a couple of yards. Shannon for more on that shady side of the field.
Spielman, I'm actually interested in what you think of this technique, right? Because at first I thought, you know, the Eagles got it down, they're on an angle, and then the Lions have to hold it straight up. But after examining this, the Eagles have to actually hold it with 2 hands the entire time, while the Lions, they can switch on and off. And one guy's actually been using his head. They're about 8 pounds each. I did feel them before the game, and I talked to the guys that they brought in to hold these canopies, and they said at the end of the day, they are smoked.
Yeah, they need IVL. Everybody. IVs for everybody.
Jeez. There's a drop by Howard.
It's sloppy. I mean, it's not slow start, it's sloppy. Everything, it's just, you know, things that you can't do if you want to be a competitive football team. And how many drops? We had Aguilar have a few drops. Now Howard with a drop. Just missed opportunities by this Eagle offense. Now Jordan Howard's here to run the football, not line up as a split end and go out for pass routes. You got Sproles to do that. This guy does that.
Without Deshaun Jackson, you're without Alshon Jeffrey. For all intents and purposes, you're without Dallas Goedert. But at least today, when they needed a play, it's either been Ertz or this guy, Mac Hollins. And that's a first down to the 25. Let's go to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks so much, Tom. Ravens trailing 23-6 in Kansas City. Lamar Jackson to Mark Ingram, who does the rest. His second touchdown of the day. Whoop. Little slip there, not a problem. Ravens still down by 10. Tom?
All right, Carissa, thank you. Goddard has just checked into the game. He hasn't frequently been on the field in this one. 20-yard completion to Hollins, and now on first down. Another throw, and this one to Ertz, and that's down to the 18-yard line on the first down reception for Zach Ertz, his fourth catch of the day.
Yeah, you know, a great observation, right? Without Deshaun Jackson, there's really not a deep threat that's threatening the Lions over the top. So the Lions are really tight on their underneath coverage, and what they're able to do is when they do complete it mid-range, they eliminate yards after catch.
Howard looking for running room and just none there. Played defensively that time by Tavai.
Because they have 9 guys within 8 yards of the line of scrimmage. Jelani Tavai, the second rounder out of Hawaii. Look at all these guys. All these guys, that's 9 guys. You don't have enough guys to block them. This is a good read by Jelani Tavai, actually getting pushed into the hole. But that was set up by the excellent play by A'Shawn Robinson in there, handling his man. Tough to run on nine-man fronts.
I know we have an entire quarter to go, but with 4:30 to play here in the third, the Eagles have to be thinking touchdown here.
I
mean, not that they would kick a field goal, but here's a throw and crossing pattern. And Aguilar spins out of a couple of tackles and into the end zone.
Well, it's going to get a natural pick. Going to try to cover Aguilar with Walker. Now he's going to get caught up in traffic. This is a well-designed play. And watch the ball security. Watch him tuck this away. See that ball high and tight, no space, and turning a great job of transitioning from catch to run. Carson Wentz put it on his numbers to make that transition that much easier. Play design allowed the natural pick.
Well, he has his ups and downs, but boy, when he's good, Aguilar can be really good. This is quite a play to find Pater.
I was the realest. I was the baddest.
Take a look at that youngster. Out of Ohio State to the Detroit Lions, the franchise all-time leading tackler, one Christopher Spielman.
How about that neck roll? By the way, that did nothing. That's why I'm sitting here with a fused neck at C6, C7 with tingling going down my leg. That neck roll did nothing. Look at Aguilar making a comeback.
That's right. I mean, in Philadelphia, here in New York, you can go from hero to goat or goat to hero in a blink of an eye.
And this is him taking advantage, clearing his head, making a play for his team when the play needed to be made. And I love the fact that he had that ball high and tight for security. Great play call by Doug Peterson, getting a natural pick so he's running free because Tracy Walker got picked by the traffic coming in front.
So now a big series offensively for the Lions. Looking across the middle, flushed out of the pocket of Stafford, and he'll take off. And a friendly pat on the helmet right there by Akeem Spence. And let's check in with Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. Cowboys already up 17-6 when Dak Prescott decides, hey, you know what? I'll keep this one for myself. Cowboys on their way to 3-0. Dak's having himself a day, 231 yards passing. Cowboys up 24-6.
All right, Carissa, thank you. This will be Ty Johnson.
Big third down.
Yes, it is a big third down. The Lions got a couple of turnovers in that first half on a pair of fumbles, only able to cash in on a pair of field goals. And here in the second half, Philadelphia able to stop them on their first drive, and now trying to make it 2 out of 2. On a third down, we'll call it a long 4.
The communication problem in the back end for the Eagles.
They're showing blitz, and here they come. Gary applied the major heat and able to get it away as Stafford, and that will be Marvin Jones all the way to the 42. Big completion for Stafford.
You know, this is why Matthew Stafford is and can be elite at times. Sendejo's free, right? Now watch the flick. That's just a sidearm flick to who got the ball down? Marvin Jones?
Yep.
Marvin Jones Jr. And you see you take a hit and they go hurry up on this.
Ty Johnson trying the corner. And maybe picked up a couple of yards, run out of bounds inside the 40.
You know, they like to go zero coverage. That was zero coverage, no safety help. And I get it. You know, I really do. But it took Sendejo an awful long time to get there. And you're putting your defensive backs in an awkward position to asking them to cover that long, especially with a guy like Stafford who can throw it from any angle, his feet, arm, shoulder, none of that has to be mirrored. He can sling it any way he wants it. Back foot, right foot, any foot, no foot. He can sling it.
Jim Schwartz, 5 years a head coach for the Detroit Lions. Took them to the playoffs one time, laid off to Bowden. And he's to the 30-yard line. Spun out of a tackle and able to pick up the first down. A rare touch for the big fella. Look at that.
Well, it's simple. And that's a great athletic move by Bowden. Eyes up, head up, wrap up. Why am I getting the look? Because I want you to stay healthy. I don't want you to duck your head, and I don't want you to take a shot on top of the crown of your helmet. You'll make the tackle, and you'll protect yourself from injury.
First down carry is to Ty Johnson, the rookie out of Maryland, who slipped all the way down to the 6th round due to an injury his senior year for the Terrapins. He was averaging almost 8 yards per carry, but then got hurt and wasn't invited to the combine, wasn't invited to the Senior Bowl. And the Lions took him with their 2nd pick in the 6th round, and they think he's got a chance to be a good player.
I think they got a real good chance because they ran C.J. Anderson out of town this week for Ty Johnson. Also brought in Paul Perkins.
Well, we might call his name today.
All right, they had a blitz on with Jenkins. They called it off. They're going to play zone right now.
Ball start, and the Lions will back him up.
Now, this is a good job by Malcolm Jenkins of getting everybody lined up. Everybody thinks.
Ball start. Offense, number 82. 5-yard penalty remains. Second down.
Everybody thinks offenses have audibles. Defense has audibles. Watch this. Malcolm Jenkins is here on a blitz. Stafford looks at him. He's going to audibilize. So what's he do? I'll audible. You're audible. We'll go back to a 2-safety look. And the communication wasn't there. And that's why you got a quick start by the Lions. I like audible in the audible.
Amendola in motion and good protection this time. They find Amendola. First down and more. Inside the 15-yard line, down to the 12. Goes Danny Amendola.
So there's a miscommunication as Amendola will come across between these two guys right here. And watch, two guys go on one. I don't know what Preston Brown's looking at. He thought that Jenkins was going to pass to him or Brown was going to pass to Jenkins. Regardless, there was no vision of the crossing route underneath, and it's a busted coverage and a mental error by the Eagles in the back end.
22-yard gain by Amendola. Short drop, ball tipped, but into the arms and then out of the arms. And it's called an incomplete pass. It looked like the ball was tipped after it left the right hand of Stafford and then went into the hands of Hockenson.
It's Douglas again with those long arms. Yeah, great job of not quitting on the play. Strip it out of there.
Final play of the quarter. A good one in Philly.
It's just a great play for a lot of young DBs out there. Never quit, never surrender on a play. And Douglas showing strong arms of ripping it out of there of TJ Hockenson, who had strong hands.
Second down and 10 for the Lions. Fourth time they've been inside the red zone. Only one touchdown. And make it a second touchdown. What a beautiful throw by Stafford to Marvin Jones Jr. A huge answer offensively by the Lions after the Eagles had pulled within 3.
If you're going to play man coverage, the one rule you have is this guy's pulling away. Do not look back at the quarterback. See him look back at the quarterback. When he looked back at the quarterback, Marvin Jones Jr. pulled away. And Stafford puts it where only his guy can get it. Great play call. Sniper crawl. Sniper crawl.
So now the point after by Prater to make it a 10-point lead again with nearly an entire quarter to play. And it's good. 27-17, and we're back after this message from State Farm. Now it's up to Carson Wentz and the Philadelphia offense to try and answer that touchdown drive by Stafford and the Lions. 10-point game with 14:53 to go.
You made such a great point with Deshaun Jackson out there. Alshon Jeffrey can go up and get a deep ball. Really, the Lions aren't threatened with a deep ball, so it's going to take patience for this Eagles offense to make something happen, or a great effort like we saw the last touchdown the Eagles had by Aguilar to break tackles and turn a catch when in transition to that run and make a big play with his legs.
Yeah, the two guys who are being called upon to deliver the goods today as that ball stays on the field of play. And it's Sanders who picks it up thinking that ball was going to bounce through the end zone or maybe out of bounds for a penalty. And he's lucky to get that ball across the 10-yard line. But they were looking at Arthega, the rookie out of Stanford, a second-round pick, and Mac Collins, who's healthy again after missing all of last year with a groin injury. Now Hollins has done his job. 4 catches, 62 yards. They've only thrown it one time to Arthega-Whiteside for 10 yards very early in the game.
Eagles catch a break here. They were offsides. The Lions were on a kickoff. So hopefully for them, if you're an Eagles fan, you can create some type of better field position.
Boy, if you're Matt Patricia, that just has to make you crazy.
Especially on the special teams thing,
Yeah.
right? And look, you shouldn't be offsides because this guy has to pass before you take off running. And, well, I don't see it. So that would make me crazy. You know, the officials, they get some right, they miss some. That's just the way it is. They're officials, they're humans. Sometimes they're unfairly scrutinized, like on all the holding calls. It's your job as a player not to hold, adjust. And each team has a scouting report of the officials, so you go into the game knowing what the official crew likes to call and don't call, and you adjust your game accordingly. That's the way it is, but that was a missed call.
So now they'll move him back to the 30. That ball hammered into the end zone. Carson Wentz 15 of 24, 217 yards and a touchdown. He's not turned it over, and he's been sacked just one time today. But he was money in the second half last week, had a monster second half in the opening game of the season in the second half victory over the Washington Redskins. Play fake it to Howard, and dropped is Wentz. into the arms of Christian Jones, who has his second sack of this season.
Well, he's forced to pull this ball down because this guy, Ertz, is being doubled. He's looking that way. Christian Jones is going to come off the edge here. But because Ertz is being doubled and the Lions are game planning, taking Ertz out of the way, understanding they're not really threatened by anybody else, he has nowhere to go with the football.
All over.
Yeah. That's a double run. Why not? Best player in the field for the Eagles. Take him out.
Good protection this time, and now Wentz looking around, and there's just nobody down there open. He gets rid of it before being sacked. And that looks like the big fella. Well, a couple of big fellas. A'Shawn Robinson with help from Damon Harrison Sr.
So again, there's no threat down.
It is a sack.
Yeah, there's no threat down the field, so these guys aren't really pressed, which allows your underneath coverage to lock up routes, which then in turn forces the Carson Wentz to pull it down. Then you get a sack with three-man pressure. There's nowhere to go with the football. They're all covered because there's no threatening force down the field.
3rd and 20. 7 Lions drop back into coverage, and so they'll get nowhere near the first down. That's an incompletion on the attempt to Zach Ertz. And as we know, they might boo better than anywhere else here in Philadelphia. Probably a flip of the coin between here and New York.
Well, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with them booing. I mean, they have a high standard and an expectation. If you're not living that expectation, then the boos are warranted.
Booming punt by Johnston, but good running room for Agnew's. Already run a kickoff back for 100 yards and a touchdown today. And a big return on that punt across midfield. Snacks, looking for some snacks. They're not happy. Philly. Get after it. Well, the Lions have run it for 87 yards in this game, but better than 4.5 per clip. They had the one big run by McKissick, and the numbers on Stafford are quite pedestrian. But you know, the bottom line is Stafford has not turned the ball over. And on first down, Kerryon Johnson is inside the 45-yard line as the Lions are looking to try and make it really tough on the Eagles now. 1 on the clock and 2 on the scoreboard if they can find a way to put up points here and turn it into a 2-possession game.
Yeah, well, they've done a good job.
It is already. Yeah. I beg your pardon.
Lions defense, special teams have done a good job because they've been playing on a short field all day long. So this certainly has helped them in not making mistakes and self-inflicted wounds like turnovers.
They'll run it again. Trying to break it to the outside is Johnson. Defended nicely that time. Zach Brown came over to run him out of bounds. 3rd down coming up, and this is a must stop for the Eagles as we're closing in on 12 minutes to go in a 2-possession game.
And the Lions have been successful on 3rd downs, 5 for 10 for 50%. So again, if you're going to bring pressure, you can't bring that late pressure by Sendejo. It's too long to cover, or you're going to trust 4 guys to get there. Let's see what Jim Schwartz dials up.
Not a single sack of Matthew Stafford in this game today. Not one. And they're not near him here. Golladay makes, no, said he was out of bounds.
Well, this is a perfectly thrown ball by Matthew Stafford, and it's a mental mistake by Golladay because if he's not in bounds, he has lacking field awareness. You have to understand where you are in the field. Watch the left foot is going to be out of bounds right there. It's a good call by the officials, and that's field awareness. That's a second-year mistake right there that he should make because he's too good to make that mistake. Good stop by the Eagles defense again.
Martin punts it through the end zone. And with 11:31 to go in the game here in Philadelphia, the Eagles will get the football back. You know, you look at the Lions and their defense here. They've got Wentz today. You have a matchup with Patrick Mahomes next week, and then after a bye, you're back inside the NFC North to take on unbeaten Green Bay and Aaron Rodgers.
Don't forget last week, right? Phillip Rivers.
That's right.
They held the Los Angeles Chargers to 10 points. So the guy can coach defense. And I think Matt Patricia, you saw him, has learned how to become a head coach and is a better head coach this year from last year because he's willing to learn. Good job, A'Shawn Robinson. He's a guy that's been a consistent guy for them. And A'Shawn Robinson has been solid against the run. They line him up at different positions, but if other guys aren't playing consistent, this guy has been consistent. See, taking on a double team right there, throwing the center off, fighting off Samulo, and is able to make a pile for his guys to run. Eating up blockers is the important #1 job of a good run defense by defensive tackles.
Well, they get the middle linebacker Davis off the field. He's injured again. Remember, he's missed the first couple of games with an ankle injury.
Well, they need him healthy. One of only 2 players, I believe, with 100 tackles and 6 sacks last year, and Jared Davis is that leader on that defense.
Wide open and making the catch down the field for Philadelphia is Miles Sanders.
So if you're going to play man coverage right here, again, teams are running picks to clear Miles Sanders. Zach Ertz just gets enough of Christian Jones where Christian Jones has to stop his coverage to avoid the contact. And Carson Wentz throws the ball a little bit behind him. I think if he puts that out in front of him, there's nobody between Miles Sanders and the goal line.
Going to hand it off to Sanders, who put it on the ground a couple of times. One time the Eagles recovered it, and then later on the same drive, he fumbled it away. And the Lions would turn that into a field goal. And you may think, well, not a big deal. Well, right now, a field goal is a really big deal.
Absolutely.
Because rather than being down 10, it would be just a one-score game. Sanders again. And into the secondary. And Sanders is wrapped up by Quandre Diggs with a touchdown-saving tackle at the 25-yard line.
The front four of the Lions are getting tired because they all stand up. Then this allows the offensive linemen of the Eagles to get a hat on a hat. You see them all standing really high. They're not going to get any penetration or stop anybody. It makes for an easy block for the Eagles offensive linemen, who do an excellent job of sustaining, springing Miles Sanders for the big game. They're tired. When you get tired, Tom, you lose your pad level.
We got Sproles split far to the right down at the bottom of your screen.
There you go.
And a pretty quiet day today after a big week 1. Only a couple of touches in a loss to Atlanta. And now Wentz to the corner of the end zone. Goddard dropped it. Oh, my goodness. The first time they've thrown to him today. And the normally sure-handed Goddard could not squeeze the football.
Well, he's looking for matchups, and here's Goddard. Again, isolating Christian Jones, who is not the best guy in man-to-man coverage. And that's the second time that the Eagles had chances to put points on the board through the air. Going all the way back to the missed throw by Carson Wentz to Matt Hollins in the first quarter, to the drop by Goddard in the fourth quarter.
Well, Goddard has been a really nice player for this team. But a big drop there. Handoff goes to Darren Sproles, and he's inside the 25, but valuable time ticking away. We're under 9 minutes to go. Still plenty of time to come back and win this thing for the Eagles, but that should have been a touchdown, and you have 9 minutes to go down 3.
Yeah, and that's missed opportunities, right? They still have time to capitalize. Again, once you get in this area, Zach Ertz, a big double move guy. The Lions have been taking care of him with bracket coverage, high-low. Guy low, guy high.
Only a 3-man rush, and Wentz all day to throw it. And he had an open receiver in Sanders, and a penalty flag. I think they hit Wentz too late. What a huge penalty that would be against this Lions defense.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 90. This penalty be assessed half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
It's Trey Flowers.
Well, they're doing a good job of dropping 8, taking Goddard out with a double team, and you see Flowers. I don't think there's anything malicious there, but he gets rolled over and he hits Carson in the lower legs.
Of course, it was a knee injury that perhaps took away a most valuable player award from Wentz in 2017. We did that game out in Los Angeles. Here's Sanders, and boy, he is level. Big time hit by Diggs. Let's send it to Carissa Thompson.
Thanks, Tom. So the Eagles fell to Atlanta last week, and now Atlanta struggling against Indy as Marlon Mack goes in for the score here from 4 yards out. Indy up 27-17 on the Falcons. Tom?
Well, that's Atlanta on the road. I mean, in a nutshell, that's who they are. And that's really who they've been for a long, long time. They're good at home. We saw them get hammered by Minnesota on the road week 1.
Oh, he missed him. Boy, did he miss. Oh.
Sproles takes a huge hit. They're going to throw the flag on Davis, who's just come back into the game. That's a hit, I believe, on a defenseless player.
Well, first of all, he misses Goddard, right? This is another a missed play right here. Now, I don't know why he comes off of Goddard coming across. And we'll take a look at the penalty also, but I want to show you what's missed, an opportunity missed. And this is one that Carson Wentz doesn't normally miss as he beats Tracy Walker. Look at this. Look at all that space. Put the ball in front of him. That's a touchdown. And now they call the flag on Jarrad Davis.
The ruling on the field is an incomplete pass, but personal foul. Defense, number 40. Hit to a defenseless player. Penalty assessed half the distance to the goal and an automatic first down.
That is the second huge penalty. Personal foul penalty against the Lions on this drive.
Yeah, and I think right there you have to. It's a good call because that helmet comes in, boom, right in the face. And you got to be able to remove the head from the game. That's just the rules, and everybody's got to adjust how their style is to the rules. And but wait, did he miss Goddard? Wow, did he miss another touchdown opportunity?
They're going to run it on first down to Howard. And he's to the 2-yard line. It'll bring up second down and goal after the penalty.
Yeah, I could hurry up and get going because that front 7 and that front 4, especially from Detroit, is hands are on hips. That tells me they're tired. When they're tired, defensive linemen play high so you can get a good push.
They're going to throw it to the corner. That was covered perfectly on defense by Justin Coleman.
They try to do a little pick route, but Justin Coleman does his job of fighting through traffic and has excellent coverage. Right there was a little crossing route to try to get some type of pick action, and the timing was screwed up just enough. And Coleman gets in the vision of Aguilar. Big pickup by them. Nickelback came over from Seattle. They'll play 70-80% nickel.
Third down and goal from just outside the 2. And they're going to throw it again. And wide open for the touchdown. Flag comes in late in the secondary. Aguilar would have scored. The Lions are saying it's against Philadelphia.
Yeah, this is a pick all day long, and you don't need to do that. Mac Hollins is going to get called for offensive pass interference. You don't even need to bump him. You just need to stand there and take a charge like you do in basketball.
There is no foul on the play for offensive pass interference. The action occurred within the yard line of scrimmage. Touchdown.
That's because now it's a pick, but he's not a yard down the field. So he's allowed to do this. He's not more than a yard down the field right there, and he's able to do that because of the proximity of where the contact takes place.
That's a smart play.
Yeah, it is a smart play.
If you have the discipline to make sure your receiver is not going to go beyond one yard, that is a really good play.
And I stand corrected on Mac Hollins. I apologize. I was wrong, but because he made that contact inside a yard, it was a legal play and a good correction by the officials to pick up the flag.
Point after is good, and we've got a game. It looked like Heartbreak City after the drop by Goddard, but they take advantage of 2 personal foul penalties against the Lions and find Payburn to make it a 3-point game. Carson Wentz excited, his team right back in this game.
Yeah. Good drive by him. I'll tell you, mentally tough, right? Missed a Goddard wide open. Goddard dropped to him, but they hung in there and they executed when they knew to execute. An excellent play call and execution by Mack Hollins. Throwing a legal pick less than a yard down the field. Well done.
So now the pendulum of pressure swings the other way, even though they have the 3-point lead to Matthew Stafford to really try and put this one on ice. I mean, it's a long way to go. It's 7 minutes, but a lengthy drive here is what the Lions are thinking from Stafford.
Well, it's talked about in NFL locker rooms. Who's going to win the last 10 minutes of the 4th quarter usually wins the football game.
Play fake to Johnson, and they drop it off to the big rookie tight end, and chopping him down is Sendejo. Sendejo, a starter the last 6 years in Minnesota.
Yeah, he's used like a linebacker in dime situations and going low at the waist. Good job of Sendejo keeping his helmet out of it, although he lost his helmet, but not by a direct hit.
All that for a 1-yard gain.
Yeah, Kenny Galladay's been quiet. Marvin Jones Jr.'s got it. There he is.
And you just called Marvin Jones Jr. That's a first down up to the 44-yard line. And for Jones, that's his 6th catch, and he's knocking on the door of 100 yards. He's over 100. 101 on the day.
It's too easy. You give that type of cushion, he's just going to break it off. And Matthew Stafford on the run is going to put that ball, not going to miss it very often. A little surprising call from Jim Schwartz, who is very aggressive and understands the importance of getting to Stafford, not allowing him time to sit back there and pick you apart.
Jones had the great 2017 season after coming over from the Bengals the year before. And they pitch it. What a really nice play right there made by Rodney McLeod. He's able to shake a block and slow Johnson down for help behind him.
Nice play that could have been a great play by making the tackle. He does a good job of forcing it, but Kerryon Johnson hidden yards right now. If they get a first down, I mean, it's just little things that I obsess about, but Kerryon Johnson saving himself 2 yards and Darrell Bevell 2 yards. You see the matchup, Schwartz and Bevell, the game within the game.
Ball tipped into the air and then knocked down at the last minute by Russell Douglas. Looked like Zach Brown was the one who tipped the ball. So now a 3rd down and 11 coming up.
Well, this is the dilemma right now. You came with 0 coverage on a big 3rd down last series. You got burned. Is he going to be aggressive, Jim Schwartz? He's going to play soft. You got to trust your guys to make a play. Can you cover and match up? They got a bunch formation up here. That's designed to run pick routes.
Blitz coming, they pick it up. And the throw to the far side. And did Amendola come down? He did with a reception. What a play by Amendola, who to this day keeps a framed Eagles jersey from when they brought him in 2009 and then let him go.
Left foot, right foot, beautiful job right there, inbounds, and that was a down the field pick route where they were able to create a legal pick route, confusion in a bunch, and allowed Amendola to break out free by defensive backs by the Eagles running into each other.
Amendola was signed to the practice squad that year in Philadelphia, and you know, he was appreciative of that. It's not like a knock or anything on the Eagles, because St. Louis came in and swooped him up off of the practice squad. But he says it reminds me just how far I've been able to come and how blessed I am to be where I am today after basically being told by 2 teams that you're not good enough.
Yeah, he just keep plugging away, and that catch right there, you're good enough. That's field awareness, understanding where you are and able to get both feet in bounds. Now it's time to get aggressive for your Schwartz because the Lions are going to try to eat some clock and pound the rock.
That was a huge 3rd down conversion on 3rd and 11. And now another 3rd down coming up. It's going to be 3rd down and 8. Clock down to 4 minutes, and it's only a 3-point game.
Well, if you keep blitzing him, he's going to keep burning you. So you talk about live by the blitz, die by the blitz. If you're going to bring pressure, then you better tighten up and play man-to-man and force him to throw the ball. Give credit to the Lions' offensive line. When they have brought pressure, they've allowed enough time for Matthew Stafford to hit the open man downfield.
Kerryon Johnson, J.D. McKissick checking into the game on his 3rd down.
Right, they're playing the sticks. No blitz.
Trying to get there with 4. Stafford not sacked all day long. And he underthrew Marvin Jones, who was wide open. It would have been a 1st down. And it really didn't look like Stafford was under the kind of pressure where he had to throw that ball on the run.
Yeah,
it appeared as though he could have stuck that right foot in the ground and let it rip.
You're exactly right, Tom. I think he rushes this throw and he's trying to throw across his body, which loses a little steam on the ball, forcing it to do a one-hopper.
Well, we welcome those of you who saw Minnesota dismantle Oakland 34-14 today in Minneapolis. Here it's a 3-point game. And Matthew Stafford, who makes so many big plays, and that one bouncing through the end zone, and has led so many big 4th quarter comebacks. But the knock on Stafford from time to time will be is making the big play. And right there is a 3rd down conversion. He's got to get the ball there.
Yeah, he just underthrew the football. Now for the defense of the Lions, are you going to be able to make a play and pick up Matthew Stafford? Now we know that the Eagles don't have a down. You can see the frustration. The Eagles do not have a deep threat right now. The Lions have been doing a pretty good job of eliminating yards after catch. Let's see what Doug Peterson can create against that man's defense. You see Doug right there, very creative in his play calling. And which Eagle is going to step up and make a play? For those just joining us, remember the Eagles are without Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey.
4 game-winning drives. In the 4th quarter overtime for Carson Wentz. And now on 1st down, he finds Aguilar, wrapped up and thrown to the deck by Justin Coleman. We have 3:05 to go, and the Eagles have all 3 timeouts down by 3 points. Wentz has hit 18 of 31, 254 yards, and a couple of touchdowns. Has not thrown an interception. Remember, the Lions let a 4th quarter lead evaporate in Arizona. Week 1 wound up in a tie, and then had to hold off twice. A late charging Los Angeles team to win their 1st game last week. Wentz, great protection, and the ball is batted at the line of scrimmage. It'll bring up 3rd down for the Eagles.
The other thing about this Lions defense is you see pressure not getting there, but A'Shawn Robinson getting a knockdown. They're without Darius Slay, their best cover guy. And Ford has come in and done a nice job. And let's see who gets the hand up. That's strong.
Yeah.
Beautiful job of recognition. Not getting there, but not putting on a play. You never know what happens. Throw the hands in the air like you don't care.
He was one of the 3 college free agents. Kevin Strong out of Texas San Antonio, rookie to make this opening week roster. Huge play on a 3rd down. And looking down the sideline, that was not going to happen. Looking for Aguilar, and once again, Justin Coleman with great coverage. And now decision time for Peterson. Is he going to go for it on 4th down? It appears he is.
Well, you're going to see the route up here, but look here. One guy that's not going to beat him is Ertz, right? So you try the out and up, and that's why you pay big money to Justin Coleman. When you play so much man-to-man defense, you can see right there Kelsey steps on his partner's foot, which maybe have altered the throw. Big fourth down.
Well, this is it. This is pretty much, barring some kind of a freak play, this is, for all intents and purposes, a ball game. Fourth down, three-man rush. Wentz in trouble, and he escapes one, but cannot escape another. The ball is on the ground. They're saying he's down, and he is a yard short of a first down. And it was a yard short for Zach Ertz last week, you may remember, on that fourth down play for Philadelphia.
Boy, if he had a little bit of time, he had Aguilar wide open down the field on an out and up, but he was forced by the pressure to pull it down, which took his eyes off of Aguilar down in the field, where Wentz tried to make the play with his feet. And Kennard, of course, Mr. Consistency for the Detroit Lions, comes up with a huge tackle. Aguilar is going to run right up here. Now, because Carson Wentz gets pressure, he has to step up into the pocket. He does not have a chance to see Aguilar running free down the field, which was a long time to run. And he tried to pick it up with his feet, and it was a no-go.
Now, look, this game is not over.
No, you got
you got 2:18 left. You have a stoppage at the 2-minute warning, and the Eagles have 3 timeouts. Kerryon Johnson stopped at the line of scrimmage, and they're going to use a timeout here. They are. So this will be the first used of this second half by Philadelphia. You'll run a second down play, and then you have the option, Chris, whether you want to call a timeout before the 2-minute warning or let it go to the 2-minute warning and a timeout the first play after. Bottom line is the Lions have had a lot of chances to put this game away, and they've just not been able to do it yet.
Well, they have their opportunity now, and the thing you want to do is make them use all their timeouts in a 2-minute. You got a trusty kicker over there, and Matt Prater has made a lot of clutch kicks. And so at the very least, the obvious thing is you want to make them have to score a touchdown, make the kick as opposed to kicking the field goal for the tie.
For all intents and purposes, you look at with all the injuries the Eagles had coming into this game. I mean, they've been right there all day long, but right now on the short end of a 3-point game, second down and 10, 2:13 to go. And Stafford to hand it off again to Johnson, and he is wrapped up right at the line of scrimmage. And that's Akeem Spence. They'll spend another. No, they'll let it go down to the 2-minute warning and stop it right there before this third down coming up. So 2 minutes to go in Philly. We're back in a moment. Well, we welcome those of you who are watching Green Bay in a 27-16 win over the Denver Broncos. Just a moment ago on a fourth down from their own 25-yard line, the Eagles come up a yard short. But now a 3rd and 10 and the 2-minute warning for Stafford and the Lions in front of Philadelphia by 3. All-out blitz coming. Stafford gets it away and out of bounds, making the reception. Well, actually, it came loose out of the hands of Golladay. So once again, this Philadelphia defense is preventing Stafford and the Lions from actually just putting this thing on ice.
It's good pressure right there, and live by the blitz, die by the blitz. The pressure forced Stafford to throw the ball out of bounds. And you see Sidney Jones was able to knock it away.
All right, so now Prater. This is a big one. So be from 46 yards. He's perfect today. He's only missed once all year. Good snap. Right hold, and it's blocked.
Malcolm Jenkins.
Malcolm Jenkins with a football is inside the 30, inside the 25-yard line. It looked like it was Douglas who picked it up, and Malcolm Jenkins was the one who blocked it. Malcolm Jenkins. How big time a player has this guy been in his career?
The #1 rule for field goal protection, you protect from the inside out, not the outside in. Malcolm Jenkins is allowed to come free, jump over between the tight end and the wingman, unabated to the kicker, and is able to block it up. And nice job by Douglas, whose job is to look for the blocked kick. He picks it up and doesn't fall on it, trusts his athletic ability. You see Jenkins right there. Beautiful block because they did not secure from inside out, and another miscue by the Lions special teams.
Well, we talked about now they're moving them all the way back to the 50-yard line. I'm just wondering if he was maybe down on a knee and somebody touched him, or whether there's a penalty that's bringing this back. It was a penalty flag, we're being told.
Legal block on those returns. All right, now if you're the Lions defense, you've been tough all day. And somebody, a young player, remember the Eagles are down. Alshon Jeffrey, they're down. Deshaun Jackson, who's going to step up? The Lions have been taking away Ertz with 2 guys most of the day.
All right, so on first down, 4-man rush. Dangerous throw looking for Ertz, and excellent coverage. That time delivered by Walker.
See where the penalty, this could have been a penalty right there, a block in the back.
And that was Jenkins after blocking the punt.
Yeah, just got to have the discipline to pull off that. But now the Lions, good start right there, and they're lining up, challenging. They're putting Tracy Walker one-on-one with Zach Ertz at the top of your screen at the 50-yard line.
Well, outside of that kickoff return for a touchdown by the Lions, their special teams have really struggled. Juggled and nearly falling into the hands of Matt Collins. But again, excellent coverage, and this time it's a guy filling in for the injured Slay again, Mike Ford.
Yeah, Mike Ford had a nice preseason, and that's another drop, by the way, by the Eagles, who've been victims of drops.
6 of them.
Yeah, and Carson Wentz has to keep his composure, but when you're playing with guys that aren't playing a lot or they're considered backups, there's a reason why they're backups. They got to make a play when you have an opportunity to make a play, and Hollins has been solid all day.
So now 3rd down and 10. Aguilar for a gain of 6. It'll bring up a 4th down, and naturally you're well beyond even the idea or the thought of a field goal. You're not going to punt it back to the other team with 1:15 left, so it's time to go for it on 4th down.
That time they doubled Ertz with Davis and Tracy Walker. They're playing man across the board.
He's got Davis shading over by Ertz down there in the slot. And Wentz pumps once, throws. And what a catch by Darren Sproles! One of the smallest players on the field. And how in the world did he make that catch? Now there is a flag on the play. Is this going to be against Philadelphia?
Yeah, he clearly pushed off, Tom.
Offense, number 43. 10-yard penalty. Repeat 4th down.
He's going to create the separation, and he actually knocks Tavon Wilson back about a yard to get that separation. This is a good call by the official. They're right on top of it. There's the push. Beautifully thrown ball. Go ahead.
I believe that is the 3rd offensive pass interference in this game called against Philadelphia. 2 of them on Hollins, and now 1 on Darren Sproles.
Yep.
All right, so you back them up 10 yards. We will replay 4th down. They need to get to the Lions 40 to convert on 4th and 15. The longest completion of the day is a 19-yarder. And here we go. Pump fake. Wentz lets it fly down the field, and it's broken up into secondary. Rashaan Melvin, who came over from the Oakland Raiders, makes the play. Step for step inside the 5-yard line, and many here at the Link are on their way out of here bummed out.
Well, Rashaan Melvin does a great job of recovering. Number 29 will come into your screen, chasing from behind, and because Hollins has to slow down just a little bit, allows Melvin to recover. And we're going to see here. Oh, excuse me, that's another drop.
That's a drop. That's right.
That's a drop, and he should be upset. That's a 7th drop. Okay, so does this team miss Deshaun Jackson and Alshon Jeffrey? Absolutely. Drops have killed this team today. Killed them.
7 drops, including 3 on this huge drive. That one right there would have had first and goal inside the 5. An earlier one a moment ago by Hollins would have converted and made it a first down. But that's one side of the story. The other side of the story, you're the Detroit Lions. You've come here to Philadelphia against a beat-up team or not. But this is one on your, you're looking at the schedule when a year comes out, and it's going to be a tough one to win. And now you're 2-0-1 on the year.
And you get to win on the road. It's difficult to win on the road in the NFL. Aguilar dropped a touchdown pass last week. Hollins drops a touchdown pass this week. That's 2 weeks in a row. Opportunities to win. They didn't do it.
Welcome those of you who watch the Cowboys finish off the Dolphins 31-6. And here the Detroit Lions hang on. It was a blocked field goal by Malcolm Jenkins, which gave Philadelphia the ball at midfield with the chance to kick a field goal and tie the game, or perhaps go for the touchdown and win it. But a couple of critical drops by this young group of receivers for Philadelphia, trying to fill the holes of Jeffrey and Jackson here today. 27-24 is our final. As Doug Peterson and Matt Patricia, of course, they went toe-to-toe in that Super Bowl when Patricia was still with New England. And we'll be back with more from Philadelphia after these messages.